Yo, this is King Erner coming to y'all live and direct. First and foremost, I want to say I'm honored to be a Muslim. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum to the Muslims, and hello and good evening to the non-Muslims. Tonight I wanted to speak on a topic that's very important that I speak on. And that topic is Kevin Gates and his family. They Muslims, he have no problem with letting the world know that he's a Muslim. He doesn't hide it. And from what I see, alhamdulillah, Allah is blessing the brother. And also, more than anything, he's returning his praises back to Allah for the blessings that Allah giving. A lot of individuals be in his comments, be everywhere speaking on him being a Muslim and certain things he does. If he posts a dog, somebody's saying something crazy. If he posts a cat, somebody gonna say something crazy. If he does something with his kids, somebody gonna say something crazy. If the man opens his mouth, somebody's gonna say something crazy. It's like he can't do anything, you know what I'm saying? When his wife expresses how she carries it with Islam and her viewpoint, you guys don't understand it. And as a Muslim who used to be one of the worst individuals when it came down to pushing Islam on someone, I wanted to say this. We can sometimes feel as though we're here with our Iman, but with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we could be very here. You know why? Because when you start ridiculing individuals about what they do, instead of behind closed doors or humbly and respectfully one-on-one with that person, you kind of look strange doing it because you had the opportunity to do it in a manner that was humble. A lot of people don't understand the word Muslim, what a Muslim is. A Muslim is a person striving to be a believer. So it's different levels of Islam. You have a Muslim, you have a Muqsinun, and you have a Mu'minun, right? The Muslim is the person who is striving to be a believer. For many years, after I took my Shahada, I really knew how to pray. I knew the prayer, I knew how the different motions. I just didn't know exactly what to say except for my Al-Fatiha. And we all understand and know that when an individual goes through that, he's basically learning. He or she is basically learning. So is there a time level on that? Yes and no. Some of us took our shahadas in the dunya, meaning the worldly life. Some of us took them in prison. Some of them we took them in the worstest time in our lives. But at the end of the day, we still said, La ilaha illallah wa ana Muhammadar Rasulullah. There's only one God and one God only. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his messenger and his last prophet and messenger. Once you say that, you have become a Muslim. And if you never refute that again, alhamdulillah, Allah says that we will enter paradise. Now, of course, some of us will enter the hellfire. But at the end of the day, small things we ridicule and look down on one another about. Or you feeling as though you have reached that level so you can look down on someone else. When you're a Muslim, you're going to do a lot of things that's wrong. And you're going to make a lot of mistakes. When I look at their family, I say, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed them with the means to keep going on. But they still praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many of you guys, once you become a billionaire, is going to still pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Once you become a millionaire, some of you, once you become 1,000 years, just to have some money around, you don't know how to act. Well, there was a man by the name of Ka'b ibn Malik who didn't go to jihad, and he said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah had blessed him with so much good in this world that he left off the things that he was supposed to be doing when it came down to Allah. Many are like that. But this family, the Gates family, they aren't. They have actually stepped it up higher the more they got. When we're Muslim, it takes time to learn things. It took me 4 or 5 years to actually get the tashahhud under my belt because I was just praying and being lazy and not trying to learn certain things. Yes, I would put out my finger, but I didn't know how to say the tashahhud. I would put out my finger and bring it in, but yet I didn't know the Ibrahim prayer. I didn't know what to say in sujood. I didn't know what to say in ruku. I didn't know what to say in qiyam except for the al-Fatiha. But at the end of the day, you got to understand that that has nothing to do with your iman, with your faith. That's what iman means. Not imam, like the preacher, but iman. Iman is faith. And faith consists of 3 things. Belief in your heart, speech in your tongue, and action of your limbs. Belief in your heart, believing that there is one God only. Understand that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was his last messenger. And act upon that. Act upon it. You believe it, you speak on it, and you act upon it. Now, acting upon it consists of you doing what? Praying, greeting, watching how you treat your brother and your sisters, watching how you treat and respect your family, watch how you do with your earnings, making sure that you pay the zakat. Because Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, after the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, I will fight the people until they pay me the same zakat that they pay the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's only 2.5 of your earnings a year. Some of us miss these things, but yet we take time out to ridicule others. My thing is, you done something bad. You done something wrong. But at the end of the day, if some of the things a new shahada does incorrect, and he really had it in his heart incorrect and is not doing it as a bid'ah, as something that he's inventing, he or she is inventing, then guess what? He or she gets the reward for that. So, if a Muslim doesn't know about often fitra, that means shaving private underarms, and that Muslim forgets to do so, that Muslim is not held accountable until he have knowledge of it. And it's up to that Muslim, once that knowledge is given to him or her, to act upon it. It's not up to you to force it on them. Number one, you know why? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he always gave the people a way out. He always gave a person who was a sinful individual a way out. There was a man who kept coming to him about adultery. And he came to him the first time and the second time. And a Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he understood that, they didn't have to really come to him. They could have went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but a lot of people would come to him because of that dua. They know that dua would automatically answer from him when he called on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because what? He was a prophet. He was the last messenger. But he would ignore them people. A guy said, I committed adultery. He ignored him. He came the second time. He ignored him. When he came the third time, you know what he said? Have him be stoned. Because him being stoned is the expiation for his sins. And at that time, they couldn't live with themselves when they committed sin. They said if the companions of the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to see us today, they wouldn't know we were Muslim until we prostrated. You can think you on it, but you don't have to be. You could be on the wrong path. See that Siratul bridge that many of us that is going to be going across, and some is going to be going across, is lightened. You don't know if you're going to go across, if you're going to get caught in the thorns, or if you're going to get thrown in the hellfire. You don't know. Maybe it that your life is the best of the positivity now. It may be it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has destined for it to go a different way. It may be that you be a wretched person, an individual who has done so much wrong and is continuing in your wrong. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save you by giving you our Islam. I'm not perfect. I curse. I do a lot of negative things, you know. The only thing negative that I watch out for majority of the time, and that's simple, is crime, because I know crime will put me in prison away from my family. So I changed over that leaf, and I know also that if I'm out here propagating it, I can't do something contrary to what the youngins is getting from me. But I refuse to sit here and have individuals think that it's okay to disrespect a known Muslim who puts it out there to the whole world, understanding that I'm with Islam. You guys cry about him kissing a dog in his mouth when he's showing compassion to the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions also. But not only has he shown compassion to them, but when he kissed the dog in his mouth, he's showing compassion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because that's Allah's creation. He didn't do what some of you people do. He didn't get on national television and do something that's wacky and crazy, or Instagram and do something strange. Because I see a lot of y'all, especially you women, laying down with the horses, and majority of them are non-believers. But some of the non-believers, man, and I'm not racist or against them. I love them also. I just have a connection with the Muslims more. But I want you to know, some of you guys that are non-believing, you worry about what Islam got going on when you have no intention on signing Islam. And may Allah bring you to Islam, and I do not know the hearts of the people. But I will say this. Who are you to go onto someone's page and say what shouldn't be said and how it should be said, and just because it's a Muslim, wow, look everybody, look at what the Muslim said. I understand what's going on here, and I want the people to understand. What I understand is the good of the Muslims is expected, because everybody look at us as, you know, something more. At first I was just thinking, maybe they just hating. But you know what? Islam has touched the world so much that maybe people do expect different things out of Muslims like me. Maybe you expect for me not to respond negative to an individual. Maybe you respect and expect me to go on the right path all the time. You look at me as I'm some godly man, and guess what? I'm a human. I'm going to make mistakes. I fear God. I fear him. I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the highest of what I call my nafs, or what my desires understand. But if I was a true believer, if anybody was really like the companions, we probably wouldn't never even come out. We probably would stay in our homes and only go to the store and back. But Allah didn't mean that for every human being. The more knowledge you attain, the more you expect to act upon. Leave the babies in Islam, the ones that are coming to Islam, leave them alone and let them be. Stop being antagonizing to them on their social media when they're living their best life. The brother just come home from prison, and he's able to come home from prison and pray with his family. When I know individuals will come home from prison and leave the prayer at home, in the prison. Yes, I know individuals nix Islam, period. But you see them in a prison. Am I the one to say anything bad about them individuals? No, you know why? Allah doesn't know. I don't know what Allah knows. Allah has more understanding than any of us. He has the knowledge of what's in that man's heart or that woman's heart. I don't have the knowledge to know what's in people's heart. But because of how I told you guys those three things, belief in the heart, speech of the tongue, action of the limbs, because of their actions, I gotta honor and respect it to the highest degree. The highest, because I don't know too many people who's going to get a lot of finances and get all the blessings and still please God, period. Even the non-Muslims. How many times you seen a person go to church Sunday but act up Monday? How many times have you seen a preacher ask for all the money for the people in the crowd, but the people in the crowd don't have as much money as the preacher has? You've seen it numerous times. And I can go battling back and forth of how this religion is this or that religion is that, but that's not the goal here today. The goal is to give the example that we all are human beings. We all make mistakes, and those mistakes are recorded. But guess what we must understand? That all three God-fearing religions give you the understanding if we fear God and if we beg him for forgiveness, we will be just fine. But because some people are miserable with their days and with their nights, with their mornings, they wait to see somebody do some of the smallest things and they'll get under their comments or they'll call them with their miserableness. It's miserable energy is what I call. You want to transfer it over to a person who has everything good going on. And that's when the depression sets in individuals that have been through things like I've been through and Kevin Gates. The depression, the things I went through as a child, the abuse from my mother. Although I was never sexually abused by anyone, but the physical abuse, her punching on me, beating on me for no reason at all. Her pulling out her whip, her belt, her going to get her extension cord. That plays back on individuals like us. And because we may have forgave, we still are depressed about those issues. So when you get and you bother individuals like that, you wake up something in us. So excuse the brother when he snaps on y'all and cuts y'all out, but at the end of the day, he is a human being. And you guys are speaking on his family that he raised totally different. If you listen to his music, totally different than he was raised. He said, I was poor. We was poor. I had to eat off of paper plates. But now they got plates. This man is traveling the world on a tour now to put food on his family table. And from time to time, he'll get on Instagram and give you guys some knowledge about something, but yet you guys don't want to accept it. And what winds up happening is he'll restrict the knowledge that we may need. Because I don't care if you're new to Islam or you're old to Islam. Each can learn something off of one another because the only one that has the true knowledge is who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's start focusing on our mindsets, getting things together. Rather you a Muslim, rather you are a Christian, rather you are a Jew. How about you get understanding that we are all human and we're going to make mistakes and you beg Allah for forgiveness for the wrong things you have done also. Let's all get an understanding that we may not know each other's religion, but for the most part, we're speaking of one God. There are things added in other religions, but we're not going to get into the beefs and all that nonsense. But if you are pleasing one God or you are praising one God, then you should get an understanding that you are a human being and that God teaches you to beg for his forgiveness. They said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to beg for forgiveness over 70 times a day. Who are you not to beg for forgiveness? He prayed so long, Aisha radiallahu anha. She said to him, why is it that you pray so long till your feet hurt and this, that, and the third when you are already guaranteed paradise? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, shouldn't I be a grateful slave? Now, how deep is that? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who was given revelation from Jibril alayhi salam, he said, shouldn't I be a grateful slave? Shouldn't you be a grateful slave for what Allah has done for all of us? Shouldn't you be grateful for what he has done to you, regardless of what religion you in? He still gives you substance. He still allows you to live, and he still gives you blessings each and every day. Good days come to you. But yet you don't want to call on him at all, but you want to call out a person who actually takes time out to do this and do it on social media, giving you a beautiful example of how you should do. You guys ridicule the wrong individuals. You ridicule the leaders, the ones that can end up being leaders. The ones who are already leaders. And you help restrict the knowledge that we all must receive. You help restrict those type of individuals who have reached that element of earning and taking care of their responsibilities to a point they don't even want to respond back to anything you have to say, whether it's positive or negative. I offer dua for the Gates family. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to continue giving them good in this world and in the hereafter, that he keep them grouped together and that he gives them the highest spot in paradise. And you know what? I beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring the non-Muslims to Islam. I beg them to start realizing that we are all human beings and no one is perfect. Do not ridicule a person just because they have a beard and they have a prostration mark. It's only a sign that they care about their Lord. It's a sign of their belief. And the majority of us, I want you to understand, our belief is just small to others. But to us, it means the world. Only because at the end of the day, we are striving. But all of us in this world, taqwa is different, except for those who are in charge. I don't see in Philadelphia or Jersey, I see some good brothers like Hassan Somali. I see brother Hafiz, who's the imam at Allegheny. I see good brothers that are leading, don't get me wrong. But what about the people around them? When I'm saying that, the community as a whole, you think an imam want to hear about family situations that are terrible every day? You think he want to hear about that nonsense all the time? But they do with sabr, with patience. We must start having patience with each other. Us human beings overall as a whole must have patience with one another. Start respecting each other. You see somebody do something negative on the gram or somewhere, or you think it's against your religion, whatever your religion is, how about you say it to them in private or when you see them? How you doing, brother? I'm coming with peace. I just wanted to let you know that incident, blah, 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 in a respectful manner. That way everybody is safe, because when you come and you're disrespecting people's families and you say anything about their children, what happens is you can put yourself in a bad position where that person has to defend them family. And guess what? In Islam, it's good to defend your family. It's a sadaqah. It's a blessing. We got to start understanding the blessings and looking at everything that we've done wrong as a lesson and do better. Gates didn't go to jail crying like you see these rappers crying, saying I'm wrong, I got to get out of here, this system is crazy. No, he went in there and he learned more. And I respected that. I've been like the music, but I respect that because it's strong, it's strength. Some people go in there and don't get back to work. Lazy, sad, he sat for a minute. It wasn't a week or two, he sat down. But he stood up on all 10 toes, man. And I respect it and I honor it. And I would love for somebody to feel like that about my family also. I would love for someone, a Muslim, to speak up like this for me. So when I speak of Kevin Gates and the Gates family, I'm not just speaking of Gates and them as the Muslims. I'm speaking of every Muslim in this world. And when I speak of the non-Muslims, all of us having a respect level for one another and never having hatred because of each other's religion, I do it because I honor that. The reason why I honor that is because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he protected the Christians. You heard about the jizya tax and things of this nature. He protected them. Do you understand that the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the people went, they went to Abyssinia, they went, and guess what? It was Christians who protected them. It was Africans who stood up. And when the brothers speak, may Allah forgive me, the brother who spoke that day, but he gave them understanding that I followed the religion of Isa alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Yaqub. And then the Christians protected them against the Arabics, their own people that they were trying to get a religion to. So of course I have love for Christians. I'm allowed to. Of course I smile at my neighbors. Even in my old neighborhood, I smile at my neighbors. How you doing? How you feeling? They ain't know me for being a terrorist. One of them I love to death, and we always been. She's Muslim. We always been. But when I come to that block and I pull up, I see Muslims and non-Muslims, people of different cultures, people of different skin color. And I love and respect them. Where I live now in my new home, all I come out, I see nothing but white people and Indians. And guess what? How you doing today? And it's not fake. And if I see someone trying to harm them or their property, I'm all over it. But I'm saying this about Gates and his family because I feel as though the way they promote a loss of pen with the islands is so beautiful. The way he does it with his family, and to have depression and to been through the things that he have and have his wife with him all the time, I honor that to the highest degree. And I honor Christians the same way. I honor Jews the same way. I don't have no disrespect or dislike towards others, even though I know they have dislike towards my religion. At the end of the day, we're human beings. Pray to your Lord. Pray to God. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take you out of that hatred, miserable stages. Those stages are dishonor. And you can kind of have a miserable life for the rest of your life. Who wants to live like that? Have a smile, always love one another, and treat your neighbors with respect. That's the highest part of faith. Kinger and alive and direct.